Welcome back to the Touchdown Bears podcast. My name is Richard Fung. Obviously, the big Bears story the past couple weeks has been the Seth Wickersham article on ESPN about Caleb Williams and his dad not wanting to come to Chicago initially. Caleb finally addressed it on Wednesday. He honestly probably should have addressed it sooner, but maybe he was hoping it would just blow over. I should have addressed it sooner as well, but this channel has been on hiatus the past few weeks. I've been trying to figure out whether I should continue with it or not, and I have decided to keep going with it and see what happens. So I will try to post more consistently going forward. But anyway, back to Caleb. Obviously, this whole story coming out was not ideal. It was not a good look for him and his dad. It was always going to be a bit awkward for him to try to explain something like this away. Maybe that's why he tried to avoid it for so long. One reporter asked him if his dad speaks for him, and that was that was a spicy question. That one definitely had some hot sauce on it. But he also said, "I'm not here to talk about the past," which immediately reminded me of Mark McGuire saying that same thing when he was testifying before Congress about his steroid use. Look, as a Bears fan, I get that it might have been a bit easy to be offended by the idea of Caleb not wanting to come here when the story first came out. But if you look at it from the perspective of Caleb and his dad, coming to Chicago might have seemed like coming to Cleveland, or like how Detroit or Washington used to be looked at before their turnarounds. The Bears obviously have not had a franchise quarterback in forever, and there's been a lot of dysfunction here over the years. So you'd probably prefer to avoid a situation like that if you could. But ultimately, Caleb said that he was not ready to nuke the city, and after he made his visit here to Hallis Hall, he decided to come here and try to turn the franchise around. He also clarified the thing about watching film. It's not that he did not know how to watch film, it's that no one taught him to watch it more efficiently. There were two main things that I thought about when this article first came out a couple weeks ago. The first thing was that at times last season when we would see Caleb on the bench, like this, looking like he got beat up by Mike Tyson, he was probably thinking, why didn't my dad and I try harder to avoid coming here? Not all the time, mind you, but the thought had to have crossed his mind occasionally, and it may have affected his play at times. Albert Breer reported earlier this week that Ben Johnson wants Caleb to have better body language. He mentioned how he was slow to get up at times after sacks last season, and I suspect he was also probably referring to those times where Caleb would look kind of defeated on the bench. The second thing the article made me think about was that, hey, maybe Ryan Poles should have given a little more thought to trading down one spot and giving Caleb to Washington and taking Jaden Daniels number 2. Poles obviously made a mistake by largely ignoring Daniels during the pre-draft process, and of course Daniels winds up being Rookie of the Year. Poles could have had his cake and eaten it too. He could have gotten an extra draft pick or two from Washington and gotten a drama-free quarterback in Daniels. I'm just saying he could have, Now who knows how Daniels would have done here last year. He may have struggled too. With his skinny build, he may have suffered a major injury playing behind this offensive line. I mean, who knows? I'm not saying Poles should have done this. For the record, I was in favor of drafting Caleb because everyone said he was generational and because of his off-script throwing ability. I'm still optimistic about Caleb, but the bottom line is he has to be better. He had way too many missed throws last season, especially deep throws. Some of his misses were Anthony Richardson-like. I mean, missing people by 10 yards. Remember the throw he threw right out of bounds against Indianapolis? he held the ball too long at times, took way too many sacks. Look, I know the Bears obviously did him no favors by keeping Matt Eberflus, hiring Shane Waldron, giving him a bad offensive line. Caleb and his dad wound up being right about a lot of their pre-draft concerns. But there's still no excuse for some of the inaccuracy and some of the sacks that he took when he was trying to be Superman. I read an ESPN article earlier this month that talked about how Rome Odunze had 37 targets that were either overthrown or underthrown last season. That was 8 more than any other receiver in the league. And you know how Caleb always calls Rome his guy, but where was the chemistry there? DJ Moore had 27 inaccurate targets. Keenan Allen had 24. Now that the Bears got Caleb, the offensive-minded head coach that he wanted, they shored up the offensive line. They got him some more weapons like Colston Loveland. Hopefully he can leave all that stuff about not wanting to come here behind, and we can all just move forward. We know Caleb has style. We know that he goes to fashion shows and things like that. We know Caleb has style, but he needs more substance to go with the style. Hopefully this will be something we can all just look back and laugh at in years down the road after Caleb wins his 8 Super Bowls here. But if things go sideways, even with Ben Johnson here, I suspect we may hear from Caleb's dad again. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.